The Bulls and Nets, followed by the Timberwolves and Suns, as we welcome you to TNT NBA Tip-Off, presented by CarMax. Studio J here in Atlanta. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley, and let us get right to it. Steve Nash out just 7 games into his 3rd season with the Nets. Jared Greenberg is going to fill us in as we head to Barclays Center. Not much going on up there, is there, Jared?
EJ, you know, it's kind of funny. Our crew was originally slated to be in Oklahoma City. Good change by the bosses to be here in Brooklyn for the busy news day. Jacques Vaughn will be the interim head coach, replacing Steve Nash. Sean Marks, the general manager of the Nets, vehemently denying multiple media reports that he has already tabbed former Boston Celtics head coach Ime Udoka as his next head coach. He says, absolutely not. We have not hired one yet. He says, we would like to get back playing the basketball that we know we can play. We are not proud of where we are. Where are we? Let's quickly just go through a litany that could probably take about 3 hours to go through of what's happened with this organization in now the 4th season since KD and Kyrie joined the Nets. Think about it. Kenny Atkinson fired. The future young core of the Nets shipped out, in addition with future draft picks for James Harden. Then this team sees injuries at different times to Kyrie, KD, Harden. Kyrie has that mysterious leave of absence. Kyrie unvaccinated, unable to play multiple games. Harden then forces the trade out to Philadelphia. The Nets get back some compensation in Ben Simmons, but doesn't play a single game last year. They're swept in the 1st round by Boston. KD then asks for a trade, realizes he doesn't get it. Then he asks for Steve Nash to be fired. That didn't happen over the summer. It would later. There's the foreshadowing. Kyrie, just a couple of days ago, sends out a cryptic tweet with a video, with a link to a video that has anti-Semitic messaging. Provides no context for it. When questioned about it, refused to answer those questions. Nash then fired. There is a report now, as I mentioned, that Ime Udoka will be the next head coach. The issue with him, he's currently on a 1-year suspension from the Boston Celtics guys for inappropriate behavior within the Celtic organization. Oh, and by the way, Ben Simmons tonight is going to miss his 2nd straight game with a knee injury, and the Nets are off to a 2-5 start. So everything's great here in Brooklyn, even if the weather outside's a little cold and rainy, Ernie.
Like I said, nothing going on up there. Jared Greenberg, thank you for the thorough report. We appreciate that. Let's go to CarMax Call Your Shot. And Steve Nash, 2 full seasons and then 7 games into season number 3, out 94-67. Couple of trips to the playoffs, knocked out in the conference semis, knocked out in the 1st round. And Jacques Vaughn steps in as the interim head coach. Wow, on a game day, 7 games in. How stunned or how surprised are you?
Not surprised. I didn't realize it was that much stuff until Jared went through that list. Not surprised. I think there was turmoil brewing over the summer.
Not surprised that this quickly into a season?
No, I think that when you want to make a change, if you can get into a mediocrity. And you can fall into a mediocrity and say, well, we're going to turn this corner sometime. And then when you don't turn the corner, the next person in line is why we didn't turn the corner would be you, as Sean Marks. So you're saying, let me start now. Let me make a decision. So I'm not surprised if they would have started out well, especially when your best player, and arguably one of the top 3 players in the league, says he's not really comfortable playing for you in the summertime, then you are on a short lease. And the other thing that I saw, I don't know if Shaq and Charles probably would even know, when I saw Steve Nash get thrown out the game the other day, I said, here's the writing. In my mind, I said, this is the writing, because that was uncharacteristic of Steve Nash, throwing things, leaving the game, showing that type of emotion. What made him a great player to me with Steve Nash was his ability to stay cool in those moments. And so I saw something different, and I knew you could see something coming.
In order to win, your team has to be functional. They were dysfunctional from the start. You got a guy not playing. You got a guy saying, bring my guy in. They bring the guy in, that didn't work, they break up. You have a guy saying, okay, I want this guy fired. It's been a whole bunch of dysfunction. And, as a leader on the team, I've always said that the coaches are cool, but they're just there for moral support. But, at some point, the top 2, 2.5, 3, whatever superstars you got to take some accountability. But it's just been dysfunctional, and it will remain dysfunctional until they all get on the same page. I see 2 great individual players that are not playing together. And you see one guy that's deemed as great, hasn't got back to form yet, and you got a lot of other stuff going on, they're not going to be right for a while. So the question is, who's going to come in, who's going to have the ability to keep them in line, and is this going to turn them around? I don't think it is.
And the reports are, if you're just joining us, that Ime Udoka, the suspended Boston Celtics head coach, according to reports, said within 48 hours he would be the new head coach. But Sean Marks throwing cold water on that.
He just said he didn't hire.
Well, first of all, Steve Nash is a scapegoat. Let's get that out of the way. Steve Nash is a scapegoat for these players acting like idiots and fools. It's really starting to be a joke. This whole Brooklyn, I mean, it's past being a joke. And first of all, I don't believe Sean Marks. I think what happened with Sean Marks is he saw the negative reaction. I watched television all afternoon trying to get all the information before we came on this show. People were going crazy that guy got a job that quickly. And I think they said,
Udoka,
yes. So I think they says, man, we already doing a lot of stupid stuff. Why are we going to do something stupid tomorrow? So that's what I think happened, because, when Woj is pretty damn good. He don't normally just go out there with stuff, but I think every person I saw on television today says, man, it's a little soon to be giving him a job.
Who, Ime Udoka?
Yes.
So you believe that I heard, this is just what I heard. He said no one's hired. He never said that is not our guy or he's not in consideration. So there is a difference between not being hired and not being in consideration. So for me, let's see what these 48 hours brings, because
but the negative effect
of bringing him in, you think that would be negative?
First of all, I hope Coach Udoka gets another job.
Right.
I hope he gets another job. He deserves another job. He did a fantastic job. I don't get into people's personal life. That being said, this is not, with the stuff going on there, it's a bad look to bring him in.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know.
Because he hasn't served any penance, Kenny.
The penance is with the Boston Celtics, not the Brooklyn Nets.
But to do whatever happened.
But he's serving his penance with the team that is actually with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, but
it has nothing to do with Brooklyn.
But he's not spending the whole year. If he's going to get a job tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's not his fault that he's still qualified.
They're probably going to fire him anyway.
Well, they are. They probably are going to fire him, but it's just a bad look. And from a public perception, you let these players run this man off his job because they were acting like fools. The players, this is all on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. Steve Nash is just a scapegoat. And it's really unfortunate. I don't know if Steve Nash is Red Auerbach or whatever. This thing was never going to work when he said, we don't need a coach. When they get,
it's not like we have a coach, like we're all the coach.
We're all the coach.
Kyrie and Simmons.
And, I was watching these shows today. This team did pretty good in the playoffs like 3 or 4 years ago. So nobody was talking about how bad of a coach Steve Nash was 3 or 4 years ago. All of a sudden, these guys started acting like fools and jackasses. And now, Steve Nash can't coach. Like I say, I don't know if Steve Nash can coach. But I know 3 or 4 years ago, he was winning playoff series.
I would agree that the players have a big part in the dysfunction of what the Brooklyn Nets are doing, 100%. But as a coach, you also have to have some of that responsibility in terms of this, that you're as I don't 100% agree with Shaq in terms of moral support, but there is someone who can get these guys, supposedly. It's your job also as a coach to get them going. But if you don't have the backing of your ownership, you don't have the backing of your management as a coach, then Steve Nash is handcuffed. So it's a combination of all things.
What about having the backing of your players?
Yeah, but that's part of being a coach as well. Those guys didn't do it.
Yeah,
they didn't do it.
Yeah, but the reason why I say
Shaq at times didn't do it, but when he got with Phil Jackson, he's like,
okay,
I'm going to do it.
The reason why I say moral support, you all know with Phil Jackson, we ain't got no plays. We don't have plays.
I had a triangle offense.
That's not plays. The triangle is a system. It's not plays.
That system worked well.
But see, my point is, you don't have to say do this and do that. Me, as a guy who hasn't won, I know what I got to do. Kobe know what he had to do. I know what I got to do to get the other guys involved. We always talk about the definition of a great player. I know what I had to do. So only time we need to feel is down by one.
Could I say one thing?
We need to get moving.
Yeah. The only thing is, when they're equal talent against you, then you need coaching.